Okay. I can like still cut. Anyways, so then I was like doing the Emmy nominations back in 2022.
Oh, yes.
I think, and also like I also want to talk about those like of this year because I'm very curious about your take on them.
The Emmy
And
Awards, there are so many that are out there because I'm in love with the series The Bear. Just love The Bear. James Allen White. Oh, that guy is well. Actually, all of them are in it, but I mean, he's the lead. He's really good in it. I love Ted Lasso. I love Ted Lasso. I was crying when it stopped because I love it. I love every character in it. Roy Kent. I wish he quit swearing as much, but that's Roy Kent. But it's so good. And it's not just the funniness of it, it's also the endearing. There's also the emotional of the pain that some of them go through too. They've each got that funnyism about them, but they've also got the painful and human side of them of things that they're going through as well. So very well written, very well.
So yeah, I was like doing the predictions, and then I was like, you know what, like because this was usually a blog and still is a blog, so this is kind of like a baby of the blog, this podcast. Yeah. So I was like, I was reading through the Emmy nomination. I got so furious because I don't remember which show, but some shows weren't like nominated, or actress or actors, and I was like, I have to like let off steam. So I created the pilot of this podcast, and ever since then I never stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's good for you. Well, it shows you're very interested. You're very intrigued on everything that's going on. Like I love watching the Emmys, People Choice Awards. I always love. I watched the Oscars since I was a little girl with my mom and my dad, and I have always watched the Oscars. I have always loved acting. I've done it since I was a kid. I've just always thoroughly enjoyed it. But I also like to watch it too. I like to see what a person puts into a character or what goes into the writing of a scenario. But yeah, and the Emmys and the Oscars, like a lot of actors, some actors really, woo, it's just so much. And then there's other actors, yeah, but it's one of the things I think that gives a bit of delight for actors. And then they get to see each other as well. Actors get to meet other actors. And I think there's a lot of hype to it, but there's also a joy in being recognized by the Academy Awards or the Emmys. Yeah.
So well, then let's go into the Emmys then. So I have this theory that there will be a tie between Succession, The White Lotus, The Last of Us, and one other show I can't remember. Oh yeah, Barry. Or Ted Lasso.
Yeah. It's a really hard pick here. And let me tell you, I love The Last of Us. I've watched it. Me too. Watched the whole first season. And did you know that it was filmed in Calgary, Alberta, Canada?
Yeah, I knew because I listened to the HBO's podcast of The Last of Us, and then what's the guy's name? The host and the creator of the games. He actually said that they were filmed there in Canada.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Guess where it's coming to be filmed for the second season, whenever it starts with a strike? It's coming to Vancouver.
Ooh, cool. So you can watch.
So I said to my agent, I said, you get me auditioning for as many roles as you can on the show, because I love this show. And to tell you the truth, my daughter and I were just at an event where the fellow who does the sets, the production sets, and we listened to him talk. He was right there in front of us, and he does all the setting, and they're showing us things from The Last of Us. So we felt very fortunate to be there. So
you should tell your agent to be like, I don't like, get me a role of a zombie. Like, I don't care what I'll be playing, but I would just want to be. I just want to like breathe the air of Last of Us.
I've done zombie roles in my early part of my career, so I could pick, and that's right. I'm just gonna tell her, because she's always wanted me putting me in for the lead and supporting and and principal. And I said, I'm gonna love it. This one, I don't care. because all us actors here are just going nuts because we're just going, you gotta let some Canadian actors in there. And there were a few. I actually had an audition for The Last of Us when it was filming in Calgary. Very close to the role, very close to getting it, but I didn't get it. But so yeah, and now being here, it's going to be really, 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 really cool. So yeah, but I don't know. That's a hard one. Succession is so good. White Lotus is really good. The Bear is really good. Last of Us is really good. There's just been so many this year that are so good. I have a funny feeling Succession may take it. Yeah. I wish it was The Last of Us or The Bear, but I have a funny feeling. And Ted Lasso, I'm quite sure they're going to take a lot of awards in this one. And I think I think they may get it, although that Bill Hader one, I'm just trying to remember what the name is. There's a few that Abbott Elementary, and there's a few that Barry it's called. There's a few others that I don't know. There's some there, but Ted Lasso, I mean, since last season, let's see what they do. I think they should get it, but we'll see.
I'm also like very happy that Shrinking was nominated.
I love Shrinking. Have you watched episodes? Yeah,
I cried. I was crying. Yeah. Oh my god, it was.
Yeah, I love Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. I mean, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. I'm trying to remember the African American actress in it. That's also a therapist in their group. There, she's hilarious.
Oh, I know. Yeah, she was my favorite actually. She was.
Yeah, she's real. She's funny.
Jessica Williams, I think is her name.
Oh, I think that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, that's a white woman, but she was also good in that role as the neighbor, annoying neighbor.
Oh, yes, her. And I've seen her and stuff. Matter of fact, she did some stuff out here in Vancouver as well. I never got the opportunity to work with her, but yeah. So I tell you, and even when it comes to the acting nominations and that, oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many good ones. Like there's just so many. Like Jason from Ted Lasso, he's just so good. He's so funny, but boy, when he has to take on those emotional moments of having those panic attacks and everything that was going on with his wife and not, missing his boy and, going through what he went through with some of the guys on the teams and that, like, I mean, it's very, very well done. But I know a lot are saying Kieran Culkin for Succession for
Roman.
Yeah, a lot of people are giving the thumbs up for him. So we'll see what we'll see what happens.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I also liked that the other two was nominated as well. That's a series created by Saturday Night Live comedians.
Are you talking about drama? Because I know for drama it's Andor, Better Call Saul. This is the series, The Crown, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, Succession, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets. I don't know if you've watched Yellow Jackets.
Nope, I haven't.
I had an audition to work with Juliette Lewis, who is a big movie star. I didn't get it close, but oh my gosh, the Yellow Jackets is really good. It's very, very good. Like here's the best
on my list.
Yeah, here's the best actor in a drama series. Jeff Bridges in The Old Man. I haven't watched it.
Oh my god, I love The Old Man. It's so good.
Because I love Jeff Bridges. And then Brian Cox, of course, in Succession. Kieran Culkin in Succession. Bob Odenkirk in Better Call Saul, another underrated actor. I just saw him in a movie he recently did. Oh my god. It was spine chilling. It was just unbelievable. And then Pedro Pascal for, of course, The Last of Us. And then Jeremy Strong, who's also very good in Succession.
Yeah.
So you've got your 3 Succession guys in there. I have a feeling it's going to go to one of them. I'd love it to go to Pedro Pascal, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Kieran and maybe Brian Cox.
Yeah.
The older guy. Yeah.
I know Logan.
Yes. Yeah. And then they've got the best actress in a drama series. They've got Sharon Horgan. I don't know if you've watched Bad Sisters. It's on Apple.
No, I haven't.
My God, it is so good. I would love to see her win Best Actress because she's so good in it. But then there's Melanie Linsky, who's nominated for Yellow Jackets, but she's also named for supporting in The Last of Us, I think it is. Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale, which is a huge one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so happy that she got nominated. And
Yeah,
I
and Bella
love The
Ramsey.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, and Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, the young gal in it. Carrie Russell in The Diplomat. I haven't watched The Diplomat. I like Carrie's acting.
Don't. It's so boring.
Is it boring? Oh yeah. So and it's not one that's jumped out me to watch. And then there's Sarah Schnook from Succession too. So right. So you just never know. And and like for best comedy series, you got Abbott Elementary, which has been getting awards at other.
I love Abbott Elementary.
Yeah. And then Barry with Bill Hader and Henry Winkler. The Bear, which is my favorite. And this one I haven't watched, but there's really rave reviews for it. It's called Jury Duty. And an actor who I really like, James Marsden, is in it. That's one to check out. I think that's on Amazon. And then The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So many people like that.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but my friend has, and he's like crushing. He's a crush, has a crush on her, and is like, it's so good, you have to watch it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know when. I have to watch like other stuff.
Oh, there's so much. I'm trying my best, at least while this strike is on. This is what I'll be doing, is catching up. And my daughter and I watch this for fun on Hulu, but it's also on Disney or Apple. Is Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin.
I know, Selena Gomez,
Martin Short, a fellow Canadian. Yeah. And there's another one we've watched and we really enjoyed. Our friend was holidaying in Australia and we watched this together with her. We binge watched it. Was Wednesday.
Oh my God, yes.
Netflix. She's amazing. She is amazing as Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Jenna made some history as the youngest Latina to be nominated at the Emmys.
Yes, she did. Isn't that cool? And I don't know, the best actress in a comedy. I don't know. I love this. It's finished now, but it was so good. But Christina Applegate in Dead to Me. I
haven't watched it yet, but
now that one you gotta watch. It is so good. It is funny, but it's also dramatic. It's almost but it's so good. And James Marsden is in that one too. Rachel Brosnahan, who your friend likes, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And then Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary. And here's another actress I like. I don't know. It's another series. I think it's on Netflix, but it's called Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne.
Natasha Lyonne and Ryan Johnson. Oh, I love Poker Face.
Natasha Lyonne is so good. Like she's just the rasp in her voice. I just could listen to the rasp in her voice.
I was about to say the same thing. Like her voice, like what she does is like, I don't know. Like that's bullshit.
She's so good. Yeah. And Jenna Ortega, she's in the best actress in a comedy. And then the best actor, you've got Bill Hader, who's in Barry. You got Martin Short for Only Murders in the Buildings. You got Jason Segel for Shrinking. Yeah, and you got Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. And then my favorite, it's a toss up between Jason Sudeikis and then Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. He won it. Was it the Golden Globes? He won for this role.
I think it was the Golden Globes because I was like, okay, so The Bear. I haven't watched The Bear, but I want to watch The Bear. But I have to watch so many other shows.
And then there's the best supporting actor in comedies. Ted Lasso's got a couple in here. Anthony Carrigan in Barry. Phil Dunster, he makes me laugh in Ted Lasso. Brett Goldstein, which is Roy Kent in Ted Lasso. Then James Marsden, who's also in that series I was just talking about, Dead to Me. He's in Jury Duty, which I got to watch. And then another actor from The Bear, Eben Moss-Bachrach, who's also very good. And then there's Tyler James Williams from Abbott Elementary, and then Henry Winkler from Barry. I know Brett Goldstein has won this a couple times for Ted Lasso, and I just have a funny feeling he might take it away again. I'm not quite sure. But Eben Moss-Bachrach is really good in The Bear too. And then Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy, there's Alex Bornstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Mabel. There's Ayo Edebiri, who's really good, African-American actor in The Bear. Janelle James in Abbott Elementary. Cheryl Lee Ralph in Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Juno Temple and Hannah Waddington, both from Ted Lasso. And I love them both. And then Jessica Williams in Shrinking. She's up for Best Supporting Actress.
Our favorite neighbor.
Yeah, I was so happy to see.
Me too.
There's another series out that's on Netflix. It's called Beef. And
yes, I love Beef. It's so good.
That was so good. So good.
I think
so we've got some really good, there's some really good nominations. There's so many here. We would go on for forever here, but there's a really good contingent of actors, of shows that are here for the Emmys. It's going to be an exciting Emmy to watch. And what's nice is it can be in person again too. So that's always lovely when you can have it in person. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward for the Emmys, and because mostly because I made these predictions and most of them came true last time, so I'm curious to know
good for you.
If I made basically I was very good at predicting the Oscars, which would take home.
Yes.
When Dune was released and Nightmare Alley, I was very on point with my predictions. So
Oh, cool. Oh, that's great. Yeah. It was it was a good Oscars. I thought Jimmy did really good for hosting it. I thought it was very well done. And they're really, and I will say this too, diversity is a very big thing now. And it's sad that this wasn't done at the beginning of time when movies and TVs first started. I'm talking years and years and years ago. I'm talking at the beginning of movies and TV and that. Because now I'm happy that the diversity is coming in. And I know as Talent Scout, we are looking for diverse actors, Asian, Indigenous, Indian, African Americans. So it's nice to see them getting their opportunities. And I think I had read with the Oscars now that they won't accept films if there isn't some diversity in the films. So it's nice to see that happening. Finally. Should have been a long time.
It is a bit late, but it's happening. So.
It is definitely way too late, but at least it's happening. But it should have never happened in the first place. But it's sad, but that's history. That's just our past history. Yeah.
So we talked earlier, we talked for a long time, and you mentioned that you were in a production with the Mrs. Sandra Bullock, the legend Sandra Bullock. Can you talk about that?
Yes.
More?
I had an audition to be Mum Whelan, and Mum Whelan was the woman who was the mother of the lead actors. So for The Unforgivable, which was on Netflix with Sandra Bullock. And like I was explaining to you too, Sandra Bullock's mom was German. So Sandra Bullock speaks German, and it was so nice to see her have a German director who is from Germany. And it was one of the joys being on that set was working with the director. In fact, when she said there was this deadline for the scene, she was saying how she said, I might break into German. So I had said to her, oh, spreche Deutsch. And she said, was, Sie sprechen Deutsch? And I go, ja, ich kann. Ist schon lange hin, aber ich kann versuchen. So she was grateful of that. So anytime she started going in German, she said, Janet, make sure you tell them what I'm saying. So I had to, establish that in English. And then when I was done, because they always say when an actor's done, they go, that's a wrap on Janet, or that's a wrap on whoever. And I remember her first AD, her first assistant director, came over and got me and said, she doesn't want you to leave, nor doesn't want you to leave. She wants you to stay. She wants to talk with you. And she had said to me, we both spoke in German and in English. And she had said how she loved working with me. It was a joy, and she hoped we worked again, which is really, for me, was very humbling and very grateful to have someone in her caliber, say that. So it was It was an absolute joy of a set to be on. But I think one of the number one sets for me in my career in doing this was
I
being on
know. We'll be
the
talking
third
about
season
it
of
soon.
Fargo.
We'll be talking about it soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that was made in the time when COVID was still happening. So we were getting a lot of Q-tips up our noses, and also we were doing this. I was in the first film or movie that was done when COVID was out, the end of June of 2020, and then that was in July, and then in August I was in a big series that's quite well known and liked on Netflix called Virgin River, and I just did a couple more episodes of it for the last season. I play Mrs. Gardner in it, and then right after the following month, that's when I did The Unforgivable, Sandra Bullock's movie. But I tell you, we even had to do examinations before they take you in, and you better make sure you pass the examinations on COVID. These were long examinations. You would do them online, but you had to pass. But the questions and the information and everything we had to know and learn, it was crazy. But I will tell you, one of the safest places when COVID was out, for me personally, was being on set. They went the extra mile because you had to walk one way on set, one way off set. You had to put your hand sanitizer on. You had your temperature taken, your ears checked, your throat checked. You had the swabs in your nose. And like to tell you, sometimes it felt like they were poking me right up my nose through into my eyeball. But you had to get all that done. You always had to wear a mask. And I remember one time I was filming this movie and they said action. And just before when they say action, then you take your mask off. And my mask strap got stuck on my earring.
Oh.
Say,
oh no.
And we were all just hilariously laughing. But you do sometimes for women, you have certain ears on, and guys would wear that it's hard because you got to get around your ear and it can get stuck. So that was there's a little funny that happened on set. But yeah, they were so precise and it had to be followed. If it wasn't, then, and there were times when sets had to be closed down, like Riverdale set had to be TV series Riverdale had to be closed down a couple of times because of things that happened. The Good Doctor had to be closed down once because, but so there was a lot. But I tell you, I got to give all those people credit from the top to the bottom that made it happen, because for productions to go on like that was started in March, April, May, June to end of June in 3 months to get everything set up, that's almost like a miracle. So yeah.
Okay. Zoom is saying we should go on to the next